We're one united Auckland now. Everyone's got their role to play, and as a local board at this level, we're looking after what's going on local.
The last 2.5 years have been hectic.
Intense.
Really exciting.
Challenging, rewarding.
Tremendous privilege.
It's been an absolute roller coaster.
Pleasure in the pain.
Awesome. It's full on and I just love it.
Established in 2010, Auckland Council has a unique shared governance structure. The governing body has a regional overview, local boards make local decisions. Auckland Council serves a population amongst the largest in Australasia. Local boards represent very large communities.
The community I serve is the size of Dunedin.
The area includes 130,000 people currently, which will become 160,000.
The Auckland legislation sets out strong principles to base local boards' roles on. The first term has been working out what that meant in practice.
It was a steep learning curve, to be honest. There was no model that went before to be guided by.
It was knotted out on paper, but how is that logistically going to work? I really believe that even the officers themselves still struggled a little bit trying to figure out who was responsible for what.
We actually didn't know anything about local boards. We didn't know about the structure or how it was going to work.
The start was demanding, but the local boards picked up the ball and ran with it. They began to engage actively with their local communities and advocate on their behalf.
Well, that was one of the areas the Royal Commission focused on, of course, and they said community engagement was poor. And that is the responsibility of local boards.
One of the primary roles of local boards is to engage with and be engaged by our communities. First opportunity was when we were setting out to establish a local board plan. So that gave the ideal opportunity to go out and first ask what the communities wanted of their new structure and council, and expectations were very high.
It's the participation that they have with us and the work that we do together that's able to really push things in the end.
I personally think we've got a long way to go with engagement, but we have had some fun times out walking with residents, and those less formal engagements I think have been one of the more productive ways.
I think the local boards are now the conduit that holds the community together.
Local boards have had direct involvement in providing art galleries, libraries, playgrounds, parks, and leisure facilities. They've also successfully advocated for investment in wharves, bus stops, cycleways, and in Pukekohe's case, a bridge in time for the V8 supercars.
The bridge was part of the infrastructure, the Hamilton tracks. They used to get put up and taken down every year. So I sort of heard a whisper that it wasn't required and asked the question as to whether it could be used. They had a look and decided it could be, and so the local board and Auckland Transport and ATEED put some money in. In 6 weeks we had the bridge consented and built. That was local board driven. It came out of our office. It wasn't legacy funding, it wasn't anything that we'd inherited. It was our thing, we drove it and enabled us to fix something in Pukekohe, and it's really well received, people love it.
Planning for town centres and communities is a key part of local board work. Local boards are bringing diverse local voices to the table. It's rich debate that feeds into One Voice for Auckland.
The rivalry that used to exist between the territorial local authorities and then the inter-rivalry with the Auckland Regional Council has gone.
One voice, one direction, but still many communities.
Instead of one voice, it's one choir.
All boards can identify some progress being made.
It's been a steep learning curve for all of us. It hasn't been easy going, but I think that we're getting there.
We've actually pretty much achieved an awful lot of what we set out to do.
The local boards have achieved a huge amount over the last 3 years. They started with not a huge amount of description around what local boards should do. They've defined their roles, they've developed partnerships with the governing body and with their communities, and they've started to shape up what the boards will do going into the future.
It's taken 2.5 years, or nearly 3 years, the first term, to settle the structure to a point where the boards feel comfortable with their roles, comfortable in their leadership, and I think it's just going to get better.